The shocking truth behind your fake problems. What happens when you realize this now? Something strange hung in the air, like a thick fog you couldn't see through, but it wrapped around you in a chilling embrace. There had always been whispers, fragments of conversations darting between the bustling streets, thick with an unshakable tension. People passing shared nervous glances, their breaths hitching like unseen puppets ensnared in the same sinister game. In that instant, the ordinary world unraveled, revealing a pulse of something much deeper, much darker. An old man in a ragged coat stood on the corner, eyes wide with fear, muttering about shadows that whispered secrets no one else could hear. The chill in his voice sent shivers down spines. It wasn't just paranoia. There was something lurking, hiding just beneath the surface of their everyday lives. Others dared to speak of glimpses, unsettling figures flitting between alleyways, leaving a cold trail of uncertainty behind them. Faces twisted with confusion and dread. What were these figures? Ghosts of the past? Or something far more sinister? As the sun dipped low, casting haunting shapes from the trees, the air thickened with anticipation. With each heartbeat, the strangest sensations surged. A lump formed in throats, tightness gripped chests, and hands trembled with an urgency that demanded action. The entire city felt collectively on edge, knowing that the truth was just around the corner, but it remained maddeningly elusive. Then came the moment that sparked fear deeper than imagined. A chilling scream pierced the twilight. It echoed through the alleyways before dissolving into an abrupt silence. The air held its breath. People instinctively turned, mouths agape, straining to decipher what they had just heard. What had they lost? What unseen threat was now emerging? The fear was palpable, slithering into thoughts, asserting itself in the agony of waiting. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But as the night closed in, silence lingered once more, heavy and ripe with unsaid truths. It felt as though the world hung in the balance, waiting for that fateful revelation. With a heart racing and thoughts spiraling, one unshakable question loomed in everyone's mind. What if everything you thought was a problem was just a distraction, hiding an even greater mystery, one that demanded to be unraveled? The night deepened, draping the city in an oppressive darkness. Streetlights flickered sporadically, casting ghostly shadows that danced and twisted, as if alive. Every corner held secrets, and now, every stone held a heartbeat. Silence was no longer an ally. It was a predator, lurking, waiting for the moment to pounce. And the heart of the city. A group gathered, faces illuminated only by the pale glow of their phones. There was Sarah, her breath quickening with every passing second, her fingers nervously tapping her screen. "Did you hear it?" she whispered, barely louder than the wind. Tom, standing next to her, shook his head. "It was just, I don't know, felt wrong. Something's not right." The others nodded, a unity born from fear. They had all shared that chilling scream, but now they were caught in its aftermath, struggling to comprehend its meaning. Beads of sweat rolled down foreheads as a breeze swept through, carrying an anxious energy. One by one, they glanced towards the alleyway from where the sound had originated. A shadowy breach in the fabric of the night. Something shifted within the shadows. "Did you see that?" Sarah gasped, eyes wide. All heads turned, focusing intently. There it was again, a flicker of movement, just beyond the edge of the light. A figure almost human but yet not. It seemed to absorb the darkness around it, its outline blurring and blending with the night. The group instinctively huddled closer. Tom's jaw clenched, a primal urge to flee igniting within him. "We need to go," he urged, voice taut with urgency. But curiosity held them in place, fueled by the unsettling atmosphere. What if it was just their minds playing tricks? Or what if it was something far worse? Fear and intrigue battled fiercely within their hearts. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward, partially emerging from the shadows. A glint in its eyes held a strange mix of menace and desperation. With a trembling hand, it reached out, as if pleading for something intangible, an answer, help, or perhaps a warning. "Who are you?" Sarah shouted, her voice breaking the eerie stillness. The figure paused, considering her question as the air thickened with expectation. Then, in a voice that was both hollow and echoing, it spoke. "To understand what lurks beneath, you must confront your own darkness. Your problems are a veil, a distraction from the real evil." Gasps erupted from the group, each realization like a dagger to the gut. The weight of his words settled heavily upon them, every heartbeat echoing in their ears. What could this mean? Were their troubles mere illusions, carefully crafted to draw their attention away from something horrifyingly true? Before they could process this revelation, the figure turned abruptly, vanishing into the blackness of the alley. The sudden motion sparked a primal fear. Panic surged through them like wildfire. "Wait, come back!" Tom shouted, lunging forward, but it was too late. The darkness swallowed the figure whole. They were left alone, severed from their newfound connection to whatever sinister truth had just been glimpsed. Uneasy breaths turned into whispers of defiance. But then their phones buzzed violently all at once. A single message illuminated the screens, chilling them to the core. "The shadows will rise. Be ready." As fear pulsed through their veins, a single question echoed in their minds. What secrets had they unwittingly unleashed? And in the depths of the night, the city held its breath, waiting for the revelation that loomed just beyond the horizon. The tension hung heavy in the air, thick and suffocating. The group balked at their phones, each illuminated screen revealing the same chilling message. "The shadows will rise. Be ready." What does that even mean? Sarah groaned, the tremor in her voice betraying her bravado. Tom, still recovering from the departure of the figure, stood frozen at the edge of the alley. Maybe it's a warning," he murmured, disbelief in his eyes. But deep down, dread knotted his stomach. A warning of what? "Seriously, let us get out of here," Mike urged, glancing nervously over his shoulder. "Back to the car." "No," Sarah insisted, her voice steadying. The fear began to morph into defiance, propelling her forward. "We can't just leave it at this. That thing it said we need to confront our darkness." "What kind of darkness?" Jenna shot back. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering against an unseen chill. "I don't want to be here when whatever this is rises." But there was an urgency in Sarah, a strange sense of responsibility. They had heard the voice, experienced the connection. "What if it's right?" she pressed. "What if our problems aren't what we think they are?" Each person regarded her, faces etched with worry, as if each had their own personal turmoil clawing to break free. The atmosphere shifted. Unspoken fears simmered beneath their skin like a flash fire. "Let us get a closer look," Sarah said, her voice a determined whisper. She led the way, edging toward the alley, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Tom exchanged a glance with Jenna, who looked ready to bolt. "Sarah, don't," he cautioned. "Please." The silence that followed was deafening, filled with the unacknowledged fears each of them held. But Sarah pressed on, slipping through the shadows. Each step felt like surrender. The deeper she ventured, the more the air thickened around her, smothering and oppressive. "What are we waiting for?" she called back, voice echoing against the brick walls. Then, as if summoned by her defiance, a shudder swept through the ground. A low rumble vibrated beneath them, reverberating through the alley. The group jolted, unease setting in as the lights flickered once more. "Get back," Tom shouted, pulling Jenna closer, her nails digging into his arm. They watched Sarah, who continued forward, undeterred by the growing darkness enveloping them. A guttural whisper broke the stillness, deep, sinister. Confronted embrace at Sarah halted, throat dry, heart racing, facing the oppressive void. What do you want from us? She demanded, the words pushing past her fear. The shadows coalesced, swirling like smoke. The atmosphere shifted again, fraught with charged energy as the air crackled with the unknown. Awaken the truth, the voice breathed, wrapping around them a swarm of shadows creeping closer, alive, almost sentient. Only then can you escape. Run. Tom shouted, instincts kicking in. The others surged back, but Sarah stood still, caught in the whirlpool of darkness. Her eyes widened as the shadows formed shapes, reflections of their worst fears morphing into grotesque figures. Tom grabbed her arms, pulling her back, but something in her gaze stopped him. What if this is our chance? The shadows pulsated, seductive and terrifying. Join us, they whispered, now calling each of them by name. Each voice held secrets. Each figure mirrored their doubts, their failures, their pains. What if our darkness is the key? Sarah breathed, captivated, with resolve building. Sarah turned to face them. If we don't do this now, what happens when the shadows rise? What if confrontation ignited a power unknown? And just like that, they stood at the precipice, staring down the very nightmares they had spent their lives running from. Would they embrace it or succumb? As dawn threatened to break the horizon, an undeniable wave surged through them. This was only the beginning. Would they confront their dark truths together, or would the shadows consume them? A chilling unease wrapped itself around each soul, a promise of whatever was waiting on the other side of the dawn, unseen and inevitable. A deafening silence fell, punctuated only by the frantic beating of their hearts. It was as if the shadows were holding their breath. Tom swallowed hard, torn between fear for Sarah and the terrifying allure of the abyss before them. Sarah, please, he pleaded again, desperation creeping into his voice. You don't know what you're doing. But her eyes glimmered with an unsettling determination. We need to face this. We can't keep running. Around them, the shadowy figures danced and twisted, reflecting not only their fears but the weight of unspoken regrets and failures. Tom could see his own past, flickering harshly within the smoky forms. The moment he failed to stand up to his father, the day he chose safety over love. Each vision was a knife twisting in his gut. Let us just go. Jenna's voice cracked, trembling at the edge of hysteria. We don't have to do this. From somewhere within the haze, the guttural voice returned, slow, deliberate, dripping with menace. Confront your truth or be consumed. With a shudder, the collective consciousness of the group sharpened. Fear turned to resolve, steeling their spines. Look, Sarah inhaled sharply. It's what we need to confront together. She reached out, as if trying to grasp the swirling darkness, her fingers brushing past something that felt alive. The shadow shivered, as if responding to her boldness. Don't! Tom shouted, instinctively stepping forward, fear clawing at him. But it was too late. The shadows seemed to pull Sarah in, enveloping her entirely. The others gasped as a blinding light erupted from her core, brilliant gold mixed with the darkest hue, as if she was at the very center of a storm. Join us, persisted the whispers around them, now thick with longing. Each of them stood, suspended between terror and temptation. Sarah, fight it! Tom cried out, his chest tight, heart racing with panic. You have to look inside. The authoritative tone held a power that shook the ground beneath them. Your darkness is not the enemy. It's a part of you. Without thinking, he reached for Jenna, drawing her close. We can't let her go in alone. We need to unite like a shield. Jenna nodded, though her eyes remained wide with fear. Together, always. Tom took a deep breath, stepping closer to Sarah, whose form shimmered like plasma amid shadows. You aren't alone in this. The shadows twitched as if agitated by their camaraderie. Confront it, embrace it. They inched closer, hands linked. Tom felt Jenna's grip tightening, their hearts sinking in desperation and resolve. Count to 3, Sarah shouted through the swirling energy, determination electrifying her voice. 1. The figures lurched violently, shadows stretching as if readying to pounce. 2. Each heartbeat surged like an army within, turning fear into courage. 3. Together, they lunged forward into the chaos. The darkness wrapped around them like a torrent, but they remembered the strength in their bond, their shared struggles, their hidden scars as they collided with the shadows. A surge of emotions washed over them. Their faces glimmered in raw anguish, but intertwined within was a thread of hope that shimmered brighter than the darkness. "Embrace it," they shouted as one. "We're stronger together." And then, in the eye of the storm, they glimpsed the truth behind the shadows, they glimpsed the light within them all. Yet, the shadows thrashed violently as their collective power began to shake the very foundation of the alley. Will it be enough? Thomas' thoughts spiraled amidst the chaos. But before he could even fathom an answer, a piercing scream erupted, the unmistakable sound of fear and rage echoing through the darkness, drowning out their collective cries. What had they awakened? And who would emerge from the depths of their own souls? As the light shimmered, shadows began to transform, bending, changing. The real test was just beginning. Would they survive to tell the tale, or would the shadows swallow them whole? The vortex of shadow twisted violently, each tendril seeming alive, fueled by their fears and regrets. Tom felt the heat of Sarah's light radiate against the chilling dark, illuminating the hidden corners of their torment. The air thickened with an unseen weight, the scream reverberating louder, clawing at their minds. "Fight it!" Tom yelled, feeling Jenna's fingers trembling in his grasp. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if stung by their unity, then surged forward again, fiercer this time, sharper edges piercing the fragile bubble of light they formed. The ground trembled beneath them, every heartbeat resonating through the stark reality blurring around them. "Look deeper. Find your strength." Sarah's voice rang out like a siren amidst the chaos. Her form glimmered with ethereal brilliance, a beacon among the malevolent creatures closing in. Tom's breath quickened. Each shadow coiled in on itself, an echo of a buried past, each threatening to unravel him. It was the day his heart shattered, the bitter taste of betrayal, the echoes of lost love. They screamed to be acknowledged. He steeled his mind, forcing himself to confront the memories clawing back to the surface. And then Jenna spoke, a fierce whisper slicing through the maelstrom. "We can't let them win. Remember why we fight." As her words brushed against the chaos, something shifted. Tom felt a flicker of recognition, a shared moment of clarity between him and Jenna, unlike anything he had felt before. They were not merely struggling against darkness. They were fighting for each other. "I'm not alone," he shouted, drawing strength from the warmth of their connection and the shared history that tied them together like ropes binding them across a chasm. "Together," Jenna echoed, squeezing his hand tightly as they braved the storm side by side. Fueled by camaraderie, they thrust into the shadows, their minds forging a path through the fog of despair. The swirling darkness fought back, harrowing whispers crescendoing into shrieks of anguish, attempting to drown them in fear. But within those cries, glimpses of hope shimmered like stars in a bleak night sky. Tom felt warmth coil around his heart as Sarah's light pulsed through him, infusing him with courage. "You must remember the good," she insisted, her voice weaving through the mounting chaos. In that moment, she unleashed memories like floodwaters, laughter shared over cold sodas, moments of shared triumph, love found in the unlikeliest of places. Each joyful recollection turned the tide, shifting the darkness. "Use it," she urged, and Tom closed his eyes, calling forth every ounce of light he held within, light born from their struggles, their victories, the warmth of genuine connection. The shadows recoiled. The piercing scream transformed, now a symphony of whispers of doubt and resentment, but those voices bore no power over him anymore. He focused on the unity, their bond, and it resonated throughout the desolate space. With a united shout, they hurled their memories, their hopes, their strength at the encroaching darkness. "We are more than our fears." The resulting wave collided with the shadows, shattering the stillness, a collision of light and dark erupting into a cascade of bright sparks. The alley flickered, wavering on the brink of some deeper reckoning. Shadows contorted, morphing into ephemeral figures, past loves, failures, and fears, each bending, breaking under the force of their shared determination. But suddenly, The ground beneath them shattered, splitting open in a jagged line that spat fire and smoke. Something beneath roared, sensing the challenge. Their light flickered. What now? Tom cried out, feeling an ebb of doubt creep back, and from the depths of the abyss, a figure materialized, tall, dark, and crowned with shadows. It stared at them with infinite malice, yet bore an uncanny familiarity. Your deepest fear has awakened, it rumbled. The voice a serpentine hiss echoing around. You thought you could escape me? Tom felt a cold grip seize his heart, a realization dawning. This was no stranger. This was a reflection of himself, a fragmented essence of everything he had tried to forget. Face it, Tom, or be overcome. As the deep shadows lunged, a singular truth resonated within him. This battle was only just beginning, and the greatest fight lay ahead. What would happen when he met himself in the abyss? Would courage prevail, or would the darkness claim him once and for all? The darkness surged, each shadow stretching out like claws, grasping for Tom's throat. He felt Jenna's hand quiver. The fear seeped through their grip like a poisonous fog. But amidst the chaos, a flicker of defiance sparked inside him. This wasn't just darkness. It was a part of him, a piece he thought was buried forever. Jenna, he rasped, feeling the urgency clawing at his insides. We have to stand firm. We can't let it take us. With a deep breath, he planted his feet, channeling every ounce of strength from the good memories Sarah had shared. The laughter, the fleeting warmth, they surged through him, a tide of golden light amidst the surrounding black. From the depths of gloom, his shadow self sneered, its voice a cold caress. You think those memories will save you? They are mere images of a fool you once were. Tom's heart raced. It was true, he had been a fool once, chasing after dreams that disintegrated like smoke, driven by insecurities and regrets. Yet, here he was, standing with Jenna, and Sarah's light anchoring him. I faced my fears. I know who I am now. The shadow recoiled slightly, eyes narrowing. Who you really are is nothing but this. With a sweeping gesture, it summoned the whispers of all his failures, the time he lost his job, the pain of his parents' disappointment, that crushing breakup. Each moment struck him like a dagger, words spinning around them like a cyclone. You're worthless, hopeless, a coward. Shut up, Tom yelled, shaking his head, trying to drown out the intrusive echoes. You don't control me anymore. Drawing strength from Jenna's unyielding presence, he focused on the light pouring in from Sarah. It glimmered bright, pure and fierce. Those moments don't define me. He pushed back, blending his voice with theirs, a trio against the shadows. I'd rather fight than crumble. Together, they formed a shield of brilliance, the light shining so bright that it began to pierce the shadowy entity. His form started to waver, but it wasn't enough. The shadows swirled again, growing thicker, heavier, the darkness a substance now, suffocating and thick. Only you can end this, hissed the figure. Face the truth, the despair doesn't vanish. What truth? Tom challenged, heart pounding in his chest. The figure was right. Burying his pain didn't erase it. Face your own reflection. It thundered, the ground trembling beneath them. Let it consume you. Tom's breath quickened. The urge to flee surged inside him, but was rooted in the revelation that this wasn't just a battle against shadows, it was a confrontation with his very essence. Every insecurity wrapped around him like chains, each doubt a weight pressing down harder. But there was also something different, a glimmer of strength in vulnerability, that in the midst of it all, scrutiny turned inward. The truth was ugly but real. He had to own it, to acknowledge every scar like a badge of honor, every failure and experience that had brought him here, fighting for his survival. I am allowed to struggle, Tom shouted, rallying all his might. This is my past, yes, but it doesn't hold me captive anymore. With that, he reached deep within, channeling the very essence of who he was, the good, the bad, the flawed. The darkness shrieked, recoiling as if stung. Tom felt a surge of power. The truth was his ally now, breaking the chains that bound him. Light burst forth, a brilliant explosion that encompassed everything, dissolving the figures of hate and regret, illuminating even the deepest corners of his heart. But as the last of the shadows began to thin, a new wave of darkness approached, darker than the abyss they had fought. A presence both dreadful and seductive drew closer. Tom's heart raced. Fears resurfaced in whispers around him. "You think this is over?" His shadow self laughed, a cackling menace. "You've simply unlocked the door. What lies beyond will haunt you far worse than I ever could." The air thickened with anticipation, and as Tom looked into the depths once more, he knew this was merely the beginning of a far more harrowing journey, a passage not only through darkness, but toward the deepest truths of his existence. What awaited him in this new realm? Was he ready to face the ultimate confrontation? Would he emerge unbroken or utterly transformed? The moment stretched, a fragile thread hanging between dread and resolve. Tom's chest tightened, each breath now more labored as an unseen force pressed upon him. The laughter of his shadow self echoed, dark and mocking. The creeping presence loomed large, twisting the air around him into a murky haze. "Jenna!" he shouted, reaching out desperately. Her face was pale, eyes wide with fear and confusion. He sensed her wavering faith. "Hold on. We have to stay strong." But as he spoke, the shadows surged closer, swirling around like a vortex. Tom could feel the temperature drop, chills running down his spine. He could almost feel the grip of despair tightening like a noose. Confusion danced in Jenna's eyes. "What's happening? What do we do now?" Tom swallowed hard, forcing his thoughts to gather. The light from Sarah's memories flickered, but he clung to it, using it as a beacon. "We keep moving forward. We face whatever is waiting for us." The swirling darkness chuckled, sending shivers rushing through him. "Oh, how naive. You think you can just walk away? You think the truth won't come for you?" Rattled, Tom's mind raced. What truth? Was there more he hadn't uncovered? He felt another wave of shadows press in around him. Just then, he felt a surge of warmth from Jenna, like a lifeline thrown in turbulent waters. "I believe in you, Tom. We're in this together. Show it who you are." The words fueled him, igniting a fire in his chest. He planted his feet, feeling Jenna's steadfast spirit merge with his own. "You're right," he breathed, strength branching out from their connection. "I faced pain, I faced loss, I faced myself. Whatever lies ahead, let it come." In response, the dark presence surged, centering into a palpable shape. A gargantuan figure blotted out all light, its form undulating with menace. "You've only seen a glimpse of your own despair," it roared, the sound reverberating through the ground, shaking Tom to his core. "Beyond this door lies the true horror of who you are." The laughter swelled, a cacophony of all his fears. Tom staggered backward, but Jenna's grip tightened, anchoring him. "We can do this," she urged, determination lighting her eyes. "This isn't just your fight. It's ours." Forcing the shadows back, he searched the darkness, looking for where fear hid. "Fine," he growled. "Show me then. Show me what you think I am." With that declaration, the darkness twisted, transforming into an array of images, faces of those he had failed. Moments of pain and regret blanketed in shadows. Their eyes stared back, filled with disappointment, their voices rising in a chilling chorus of judgment. "You let us down. You'll never escape." Tom's heart raced, panic tightening around him. Shadows wrapped around his legs, creeping up his body, but a surge of clarity surged forth. He drew in a sharp breath. "You think I'll let you define me? I've lived through these moments. They are lessons, not chains." To his surprise, the darkness hesitated. The swirling shadows flickered, wavering like a flame disturbed by a gust of wind. "No, you can't be free," it hissed, uncertainty creeping into its bellicose tone. "Watch me." Tom thrust his hand forward, pouring his will into the light. Images of love, resilience, and laughter replaced the darkness. Each moment of connection was a weapon now, blinding, searing. He felt the bond with Jenna pulsing like a heartbeat, driving him onward as light burst from them. Pushing back against the encroaching darkness, the entity hissed, its form twisting grotesquely. "This is not the end, only a glimpse of what is to come." Suddenly, it flicked, and with blinding speed, the shadows began to unravel around Tom and Jenna. But in that moment, a voice loomed inside Thomas' mind. Who you are is not enough. Face the ultimate truth to move forward. You must confront what you have forgotten. There was a trembling silence as the shadows retreated, but left a chilling echo of uncertainty in their wake. What truth lay dormant, hidden away like a bitter secret? Was Tom ready to relive the past for clarity's sake? His heart was heavy. Yet, the spark of hope burned bright. They had survived one fight, but more loomed ahead. What lay deeper in the shadows of his mind? What else needed facing before he could emerge victorious? The shadows pulled back, but their remnants clung to the air like smoke, suffocating any clarity Tom hoped to find. He stood fixed, his heart pounding a chaotic rhythm in his chest. Jenna remained at his side, her eyes filled with fierce determination. But even she seemed to sense the magnitude of what lay ahead as the darkness receded. The world around them began to shift. The murky haze transformed into flickers of distant light, illuminating an endless corridor that stretched beyond recognition. The walls pulsed like a heartbeat, shifting and writhing as if alive. We have to go, Tom urged, taking a step forward. Where? Jenna asked, fear tinging her voice. What are we looking for? Answers. Tom felt the weight of that word as it settled deep within him. What had he forgotten? What had he been running from? The echoes of regret still drummed in his mind, a haunting symphony that refused to quiet as they moved down the corridor. The lights blinked like stars in the night sky, inviting yet foreboding. Each step reverberated against the walls, awakening old memories within Tom's psyche. They weren't just shadows anymore. They were grouped silhouettes of faces he used to know, of moments he wished to forget. Tom, Jenna whispered, breaking through his reverie. Do you see them? Yes, he murmured, his voice trembling. They're back. The figures formed, half-formed and flickering friends, family, all the people he had let down. Their eyes were piercing, filled with sorrow and betrayal. You left us, one ethereal voice lamented. The air thickened, choking him. I didn't mean to, Tom yelled, desperation creeping into his tone. The memories, once buried, now stared at him, demanding acknowledgement. I tried to be better, trying isn't enough, one shadow hissed, drifting closer. You've built your life on lies. Face it. The corridor trembled, the floor quaking beneath them as the voices crescendoed into a tempest of accusation. It was overwhelming, a cacophony threatening to snap him in half. Stop, Jenna shouted, stepping in front of him like a shield, her face a mask of courage. You're not defined by your regrets. You're more than this. Tom felt the heat of her conviction radiate towards him, pulling him back from the brink. I can't just forget what I've done, he confessed, his voice cracking. No, but you can learn. You can understand. She reached out, capturing his hand in hers, and in that grasp, a flicker of warmth surged through him. Together we can turn this pain into strength. The shadows screamed, their faces twisting in agony. You're weak. You will never escape. With renewed resolve, Tom tightened his grip on Jenna's hand, feeling every fear, every regret coiling within him. I am not weak, he bellowed, surprising even himself. These shadows will not define me. The corridor quaked, light bursting through the cracks in the darkness that surrounded them. Fierce determination ignited in Tom's heart as he faced the figures. You're right. I've made mistakes, but I refuse to let them control who I am now. A blinding light erupted from within him, irradiating the corridor as the echoes faltered, retreating back into the void. Relief washed over him as the figures began to dissolve, but their whispers still lingered, like a far-off storm. Seek the truth beyond, one faint voice echoed before fading entirely, leaving behind an eerie silence. Tom and Jenna stood bathed in light, the warmth wrapping around them like a long-lost embrace. But the heaviness in his chest remained, a reminder of the journey ahead. What does that mean? Jenna asked, her brow furrowed. I don't know, he replied, fear knotting in his stomach. But we have to find out because I sense the worst is yet to come. As they turned to face the unknown, Shadows crept back in the corners of the corridor, waiting, hungry, shifting like a predator poised to strike. What truths were hidden in the depths of his mind? What awaited them in the darkness beyond? Tom felt the weight of uncertainty pressing in once more. The next chapter in this fight was just beginning, and he couldn't shake the idea that their greatest battle was still ahead. What terrible secrets would he unearth? The air was thick once more, and the walls echoed with a low rumble, as if the corridor itself was alive, aware of the turmoil plaguing Tom. Each heartbeat pounded in his ears, drowning out the fading whispers of regret. Shadows danced just beyond the horizon of light, their tendrils snaking closer, taunting. "Tom, we have to keep moving," Jenna insisted, her grip tightening around his hand. Her voice was steady, but Tom could sense the tremor beneath it. Her resolve was cracking. "Where do we even go?" He turned to her, searching her face for answers. The flickering lights around them seemed to hesitate, and he feared they might flicker out entirely, plunging them into darkness. Forward. It was a simple word, but it vibrated with a weight that felt monumental. Something deep within him stirred an instinct, perhaps. We need to uncover what lies ahead. Whatever it is, we face it together. With a deep breath, they stepped further into the corridor, each footfall echoing like thunder. As they moved, the shadows recoiled, whispering among themselves in a language he couldn't understand but felt in every fiber of his being. The deeper they ventured, the more pronounced the sense of dread grew, wrapping around Tom's throat like a noose. "What are they saying?" Jenna asked, straining to catch the whispers. "It's about me," Tom choked out. "I can feel it." A pulse of despair coursed through him, hitting him like a wave. What if those shadows were right? What if he couldn't escape the weight of the past? He shook his head, trying to dispel the thought. "We can't let them win." Suddenly, the corridor widened into a vast space, a cavernous hall illuminated by an unearthly glow. In the center stood an imposing figure cloaked in shimmering darkness, a grotesque silhouette crafted from the very shadows that haunted him. Its eyes blazed like stars, and its presence radiated a chilling power. "Welcome, Tom," it hissed, the voice echoing like a sinister symphony. "You've come far, but the truth awaits you." "What truth?" Tom questioned, taking a step back, defiance warring with fear in his heartbeat. "The truth about your life," the figure replied, its voice dripping with malice. "The lies you tell yourself will crumble in time. But the real question is, can you handle it?" Tom glanced at Jenna. She squared her shoulders, unwavering beside him. "We've faced your past," she declared, voice firm. "We're not afraid of whatever you think you wield." The figure laughed, a sound as cold as the void. "Fear is part of your nature. You think courage protects you? It only masks your vulnerability. Shall I show you?" Without warning, it raised a hand, and the room shimmered. Memories painful, vivid flooded Thomas' mind. He was back in the moments that twisted his soul. The arguments with loved ones, the missed opportunities, the despair he tried so desperately to escape. Each image sliced through him like glass. "No!" Tom yelled, stumbling back. He clutched his head, fighting against the tide of chaos that threatened to drown him. "Stop it. What is a life worth?" the figure taunted, "if not for the struggle against your own shadows?" Jenna stepped forward. "This isn't who he is. You think you can break him? You don't know him." The figure's laughter echoed, growing louder, more menacing. Tom blinked through the haze, locking eyes with Jenna. A flicker of understanding sparked between them, igniting a fierce determination. This wasn't just about him. It was about the connection they shared, the truth they could forge together. Together, he breathed, rallying against the chaos. The shadows writhed and churned, but instead of retreating, Tom felt an electric surge of defiance fill his veins. "You don't have power over us." The shadow figure hesitated, confusion etching across its dark features. "Step into the light," Tom, Jenna urged. "Together, we'll uncover whatever lies beyond." But as they prepared to confront the darkness, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The shadows screamed, ripping through the air, threatening to consume everything in their path. What other terrifying truths lay trapped within their midnight embrace? And could Tom truly emerge unscathed? The corridor began to shift once more, and Tom's heart raced. What awaited them in the unknown? Only one thing was certain: this battle was far from over. Tom and Jenna stood together, cloaked in determination, heartbeats synchronized as they faced the monstrosity crafted from their deepest fears. The shadows writhed like a living thing, taunting them, eager to consume any flicker of hope that remained. "What do you want?" Tom shouted, his voice echoing through the vast space. Shadows twisted and curled around him, whispering his insecurities like soft, sinister lullabies. How do I confront this? The fear that had gripped him began to shift, morphing into a raw, fiery resolve. The monstrous figure loomed even larger, eyes gleaming with malice. "I seek to show you the truth. Beneath every fear lies a failure, a reflection of your inadequacy." The words reverberated in the dark hall like thunder, and with each syllable, Tom felt the weight of despair pressing down. "No," Jenna's voice rang out, fierce and unwavering. "We refuse to be defined by our past. We are stronger than the sum of our fears." Tom turned to Jenna, her fierce resolve lighting a fire within him, igniting a sudden wave of courage. "You're right," he yelled, surprising even himself. "I felt pain, regret, and all the shame, but those don't own me anymore." Sparks flickered in the air as he took a step towards his shadow self, shaking off the chains of doubt that had bound him for too long. The shadow figure stumbled, caught off guard by their collective defiance. "You think it began," but Tom cut it short. "No, we know. We accept the darkness, but we won't let it consume us. There's light within this darkness. There are truths waiting to be embraced." Each word felt like a sword, slicing through the thick haze of torment surrounding him. Jenna stepped beside him, their hands clasped tightly, unyielding. "We are here together. Together we can slay this beast." Suddenly, the shadows erupted with ferocity, swirling around them like a storm. The howls and shrieks intensified, fear clawing at the edges of their sanity. "Fear the truth," it hissed, its cold breath enveloping them, "for it will drown you." But Tom closed his eyes, summoning thoughts of laughter shared with his friends, the warmth of moments when love and connection triumphed over loneliness. Every smile, every embrace, every victory started to radiate within him like a sun breaking through a long, cold night. "This is who I am," he shouted, and the corridor shimmered in response, waves of light pushing back against the surrounding darkness. The entity recoiled, but it was not finished. "You cannot escape your essence. You will drown in regret." "No," Jenna screamed, anchoring him with her voice. "You're wrong. You're just a part of us, not our entirety." With renewed resolve, Tom stepped forward, their joined spirit glowing brighter in defiance. "We are our regrets, yes. We are our fears, but we are so much more. We are capable of change. We forge our destiny anew." The figure crackled, uncertainty rippling through its shadowy form. It bashfully staggered as they both concentrated on the luminosity rising within them, pushing them to fight back against the tidal wave of darkness. Essence entwined, we are unbreakable. And with that, they unleashed their truth, a tidal wave of hope washing over the darkness. A storm of shimmering light erupted, washing away the shadows that had plagued him so long. The grotesque figure shrieked, tumbling backward as their light enveloped everything, pushing fiercely against the shadows as the light poured forth. The corridor trembled with power, illuminating the path ahead. The shadow figure began to dissolve into a whirlwind of smoke, its scream reverberating against the walls. This is not finished. Shadows will always find a way back. But as it faded, Tom felt something release within him: fear, regret, anger, moments he had clung to like lifelines, but had really bound him in chains. The storm of emotions spiraled into something new: clarity. The space around them transformed once more, reforming into a serene landscape, a field under a radiant sun. Together, they whispered, soaked in the warmth of light chasing away the remnants of the nightmare. Hope blossomed as they stood shoulder to shoulder. We faced it, Tom breathed. All of it. He turned to Jenna, his heart full. And now we are free. Across the horizon, the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue on their journey ahead. It was time to forge new paths guided by the truth they had unearthed. Together, they took their first steps forward, no longer fugitives from their past but pioneers of their own futures, blending shadows with light, crafting a life resolute and undeniable. Let us go, Jenna smiled, holding tight to his hand as they stepped into the light of a new dawn, ready for whatever came next with hearts unburdened. This was just the start. Don't let this story end here. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss our next epic tale. Smash that like button now, help the algorithm spread the word. Flood the comments with your feelings about this conclusion, and let us discuss your theories. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need this light in their lives. Don't wait even one more second to support. Your voice matters, and together we create something extraordinary.